YouTube, what is going on? Recently, I finished my Critterpedia, and I wanted to do a museum tour to show you what it looks like when you catch all the fish, all the bugs, and all the diving creatures. I do want to point out before I jump into the tour, if you need help catching any of these critters, I do have videos on all of them on my channel, so make sure you check it out. But with that being said, let's go check out the fish. So as we load in, we're first going to see, well, a lot of these are smaller fish. I think of them as aquarium fish. A lot of the fish in this tank are either caught in ponds or in the rivers. You can see see if I can get a better view of it. A little bit, not really. You can see we have three kinds of goldfish. We have the ranchu, the pop-eyed, and I don't remember, I think the other one's just called the goldfish. We have a betta fish. We have the little neon tetras. We have an angelfish. There's a couple other ones in there. A guppy, it looks like. Pretty cool looking tank though when you fill this one up because it gets all the wood and all the little plants and everything. So as we head this way, we have our river mouth fish in the sturgeon, the king salmon, the salmon. We even have the mitten crab, and let's see, what was the other one? The pond smelt. So the pond smelt's actually caught in the river, but the other three in here, or the three big ones in here, I should say, are river mouth fish. The crab, as you can see, is that's just a river fish. There's actually even a diving critter in there. If you look under the king salmon, you can see there's the horseshoe crab. It's kind of behind the salmon right now, but it is in that tank. Over here we have some of the, a lot of these are actually river fish. You have the goby, we have the perch, you have your sweet fish, your crucian carp. I gotta find the other plaque. You have a pale chub, tilapia, stringfish, which is one of the hardest fish to catch in the game. This one definitely will take you a long time if you don't have one. And we have a dace. As we move up, these three fish are actually some of the hardest to catch in the game as well. Well, the cherry salmon isn't, but the golden trout and the char here are definitely some of the most challenging fish to catch in the game. It took me a long time to catch, and I know it took a lot of other people a good while to catch as well. In this tank, you can see we have the frog and the tadpole over by the lily pads. We also have a loach over on the left side. We have a gar kind of swimming right by my hat. We have the koi. The pike just swam by. It's a bigger fish. Soft-shell turtle, giant snakehead, snapping turtle, bluegill. There's a bitterling, a crawfish. The black bass is in here. See if we just click through these real quick so you can kind of get an idea what some of these look like. There's the catfish. Let's see, there's the bluegill in the back. Again, black bass is here. The carp is kind of turning. Big old koi fish. Soft-shell turtle swimming around. Let's see. Crawfish is kind of hard to see. It's actually right behind my hat. Probably should have worn a different hat, but oh well. Giant snakehead there. The gar is swimming by. There's your pike. And the snapping turtle. I would say the hardest ones to catch out of this tank are definitely the gar and the giant snakehead. Snapping turtle is pretty tough too. Now if we look at these larger fish, we have our piranha, our saddled bichir. We have the dorado. We also have the arapaima. When it swims back around this tree, you can see it's one of the bigger fish in the game. And the arowana. For this tank, the saddled bichir is definitely the hardest one to catch. Now, as we move into the saltwater side, this is actually where we're going to start to see a lot more of the diving creatures. We can look, right? We have the whale shark, we have the ocean sunfish, the great white shark, the blue marlin, the tuna, the mahi-mahi, the giant trevally, and the horse mackerel. And there's even a sucker fish in here. Guess we can click on this. You can just see which ones are which. There's the sucker fish. There's the little horse mackerel. Ocean sunfish, great white shark. If we go to the other one real quick. There's your mahi. Oh, I forgot we do have anchovies too. Forgot those were in this tank. Blue marlin, the tuna, and the giant trevally. As we make our way over here, we're going to get into the deep sea creatures. There's actually a number of diving critters in this tank. We'll start over here. We have our snow crab, the big old spider crab, and the firefly squid, the chambered nautilus. We have the barrel eye, which is that little fish, the little black fish. The oarfish, which is the tall red and silver one. We have a football fish, a coelacanth, and there's a couple other things over here. The vampire squid, the giant isopod, the sea pig, and Venus flower basket. Now in this tank there's actually a lot of tough fish to catch and sea creatures that are tough to dive and catch. The giant isopod is very tough to dive and catch. The same can be said for the spider crab. As for the difficult fish to catch, the barrel eye is probably the most difficult one, and the coelacanth is probably the next most difficult just because it needs to be raining to catch a coelacanth. So let us continue. We will head on over to the shallower, like the reef area and the inshore fish. That was more like deep water fish. So if we start over here at this tank, you can see we have a scallop there. We also have a red king crab, a sea urchin, and a whelk. There's a sweet shrimp. And then we have the only thing you can catch while fishing here is the sea butterfly. Otherwise, pretty much everything else in that tank is a diving creature. This here is the coral reef. Take a look at it. There's a lot of diving stuff in this tank. First up, the umbrella octopus, the tiger prawn, the sea anemone, the sea slug, mussels. Those are all diving creatures that you have to dive and catch. The clownfish, which is kind of right behind my hat right now. I wish it would swim. There it is, kind of on the right side by the purple flower now. It's a little orange fish. Looks like Nemo. We have the surgeon fish, which looks like Dory. We have a butterfly fish. And the ribbon eel, which is that blue eel in the back. If you can kind of see, it's blue and yellow. We have the Napoleon fish. This is probably the hardest fish to catch in this tank. Then we also have the spotted garden eels, which are these little eels that... Let me see if I can get to the other side real quick. Well, maybe not. Alright, we can see the spotted garden eels. There is a sea cucumber behind my hat. You can see just the tip of it off the right side of the hat. We do have the spiny lobster, the mantis shrimp, and the slate pencil urchin. You can see the sea cucumber. It's that big brown blob kind of in the middle there. And next up we have sea grapes, which are just a plant. We have a flatworm, the pearl oyster, the Gigas giant clam, which is that big clam behind the lobster. And then we have the lobster. Pretty much everything in this tank is a diving creature that you have to catch other than those few fish. The Nemo-looking fish, Dory, the Napoleon fish, those are all things you fish for, whereas everything else we saw was something you have to dive for. Next up we have seaweed. Again, that's a plant. We have the acorn barnacles. We have the sea star. We have the turban shell and the abalone. Those are all diving creatures that you need to catch. We have the cute little seahorse. We have a blowfish, which is like a puffer fish. Very similar to the puffer fish. They're both fish that when they're scared, they blow up like a balloon. Got the hammerhead shark. As we head this way, you can see there's a squid slowly swimming there. We do have a moray eel. We have a ray. Next up, we have the red snapper. We have the dab. We have the saw shark, which that's actually a terrible angle to see it from. There is a flounder at the back. You can see it swimming. Maybe we'll see the saw shark. There's the saw shark a little better. Flounder just swam over top of it. Next up, we have the Dungeness crab, which is sitting right on the rock behind the ray. We have the sea pineapple. We have the Gazami crab, which is like a blue crab. There's an octopus back there. And there's some oysters there on the rock. And the last few fish in the Critterpedia. We have the zebra turkey fish, which just swam onto the screen. We have the barred knifejaw and the sea bass. So that's what all of the different aquariums look like. We'll see. You can also come up in here, take a look at everything, get a better view of all the different fish and sea creatures. But that's what all the different aquariums look like once you do complete all of the diving and fishing you need to do for the Critterpedia. So next thing we're going to do, we are going to go take a look at the bugs, and I'll kind of let you know what you have in store once you finish all of this. So if we jump on over to the bugs, we're going to come over here. When you first come in here, there's going to be the cicadas. You'll hear them. So as you can see, we have all the different kinds of cicadas. We even have the cicada shell at the bottom of that tree right there. Cool thing about the aquarium, you do get, or not the aquarium, the bug section is you do get, an aquarium and some fish in here. There's the diving beetle, the giant water bug, the pond skater. You can see where there's some fish here. When we walk up on the dock, you can see there's a little bug jumping around. It's a big old bird wing. We got some stags. We got a praying mantis over here. If you look up here, you can see there's some fish swimming in the water. There's a betta fish over here on the left under the lily pads. There's some koi over here in the water. You can see there's a ton of stags, and a lot of the rare beetles are in this area on the trees. You can see there's also a firefly there on one of the plants in the water. As we come up here, you got some butterflies and dragonflies flying all around. At night, actually, on this tree, there will be stags that show up. You can see there is a spider in the top right corner of the tree. Over here we have some more of the beetles and the stags. These are some of the beetles that show up on the stumps. Others are the beetles that are on the trees. You can see we have the bagworm here. We have the hornet or the wasp. We have one of the beetles that's on the ground there. Some more beetles, butterflies. Got the scarab beetle over there on the right. You can kind of just check it out. Wander around. We got the atlas moth there on the tree. If we head back into the, I'm going to call it like the lab. Kind of reminds me of a laboratory. So as you can see right here, we have some of the wharf roaches. You find them on the rocks by the coast. They're there. We got the dung beetle. Pushes around the dung. You catch those in the wintertime pushing around snow. There's a tarantula in here. Can't really see it because of my hat, but you can see he's on that log in the back. Up here you got the mole cricket, you got the grasshoppers and all the different kinds of crickets. You got ants in here. Nothing too crazy. You got a fly up here. Got the mosquito. You got the ticks that you get off your villagers. Again, some more butterflies. If we come over this way, you get the walking stick and the walking leaf. This you get the orchid mantis. It's the pink bug right above my hat. And over here you get, it looks like the moth. There's a centipede under the log there. There might even be, I forget what it's called. Yep, the pill bug. That's what I was trying to think of is in there. But if we go this way, we then get into, I believe this is the butterfly room. So you got all the different kinds of butterflies in here. You got a frog on the lily pad and the fountain. This is probably, to me, the coolest room of all the bugs. Or the bug section, I should say, because it's just, you got all the cool butterflies flying around. There's nice plants. It just looks really nice. You can sit down, enjoy the view. It's pretty nice. But that is what the museum looks like when you complete your Critterpedia. So as we get back to this, you'll see we're back kind of where the aquarium is in the bug section. And as we head right back over here, we are back at the start of the museum, where then you can get to the fossil and the art section. I'm not going to jump into those, really just wanted to focus on the Critterpedia part of the museum. But with that being said, if you do need to figure out how to catch any of these, what you're missing, I do have videos up for all of the bugs and fish and diving creatures in the game. So whatever you're trying to find, I do have a video for it. And with that, Let me know how close you are to finishing your Critterpedia. Definitely interested to know who else has almost completed their museum. But with that, I would really appreciate it if everybody would drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and look forward to hearing all about everybody's completed Critterpedias. Good luck, everybody.